Good morning, students. Let's continue with the SPM. So in the last lectures, we have done what is software project management, what are their activities. In that we have done first is the estimation of size, effort, cost and duration. Then we have studied Halstead software science and COCOMO model that were used for estimation. After that we have discussed risk management. Today, we will be continuing with Software Configuration Management, SCM. So, what do you mean by a software configuration management? So, what is a configuration? The state of all the deliverables. What do you mean by a deliverable? The results or the outputs from a software development. We call them as object also, right? So the state of all these objects at any point of time is called the configuration of the software product, right? So now since we have these documents and a particular instant of time, say T1, it is version 1.0, SRS 1.0, that is the configuration, right? Now we know that it keeps on changing. We have to make frequent changes in the software as well as the documents. So whenever you make a change, its configuration is going to change. So we are required to manage all these changes. This process is known as software configuration management. So simply it is a change in the deliverables which has to be carried out in a controlled manner so that the entire history or the changes can be maintained and there is no error. The state of each deliverable object changes, the development progresses, and also as bugs are detected and fixed. That means we need to go for changes now and then due to some or the other reasons. Now there are three related terms. The first one is a release, version and a revision. What is the difference between the three? These all are relevant to changes. But when a new version is released, when we have a major change, that is change in the functionality, technology or the hardware it runs on, then a new version is released. While a new revision is given when there is a minor bug fix in that software, then a revision is given. While a new release is created if there is only a bug fix, minor enhancement to the functionality or usability, right? So then a release is given. So this is the difference between these three terms. Now what is the need of software configuration management? The basic problem arises is, say whenever multiple SRS has to be used by different designer. Let's assume this example. So whenever they want to use SRS for their respective design, they get a private copy of that document, right? And they keep on working there. Now once they have their private copy of SRS and while they were preparing the design, they felt that something needs a change in the SRS. That would be better. So what will happen? A designer could make the change. The designer 2 has made the change. 1 and 3 is working on the previous one. And when they update it, definitely there will be compatibility issues because designer 2 has modified some requirement in the SRS document and he has prepared a modified design, while the other two have prepared according to the previous one, right? So there will be an inconsistency problem in their designing since few have made according to the previous SRS, that means in which the change was not implemented, while maybe one or two have prepared the design based on the modified SRS document. So it will at the end once you're going to integrate all the design, there will be an inconsistency problem, right? So this is what the first problem is, inconsistency problem when the objects are replicated. Objects are replicated means each designer has a private copy with them to work on, right? Now they can make the changes in that copy. So there might be inconsistency problem because that is not updated in the centralized location. Then problem associated with concurrent access. Now what does it mean? When multiple say designers are using the SRS document, so it might happen two designers made the changes and updated at the same time. Concurrency, simultaneously. So when they are going to update it simultaneously, so the changes made by one designer will be updated while the other will be overwritten, right? Or the second will be updated or the first will be overwritten. So there will be problem because it is going to overwrite. Only one designer's work will be reflected and others will be gone, right? So this is a problem. Then providing a stable development environment. So it is an unstable environment actually, and we have to provide the stable development environment where if a person is going to make a change, the others have to stop so that these problem doesn't arises. So we'll see how this stable environment is provided. Fourth one, system accounting and maintaining status information. Now we know that number of times changes are being made by different set of people. So you have to maintain that complete accounting and status information, who has made the change, when the change was made, what are the changes exactly, what are the benefits that they provide. So entire history and accounting has to be maintained for that. And the last one is handling the variants. So we have a number of releases, we have number of revisions, we have a number of versions, so you have to maintain that entire thing. So these you can say the parameters which helps us to have a proper configuration management in place, else this will not be achieved. So what are the activities of software configuration management? Basically, we have two activities. The first task is configuration identification and the second one is configuration control. Configuration identification means is which documents needs a change. Identify that configuration. Say if I say version 2.0 of SRS needs a change, not 1.0, somewhere others, later ones, right? So if I'm saying version 2.0 of SRS needs a change now, so that becomes your configuration, right? And the second activity is configuration control. Then how you're going to make the changes in a controlled way, right? So that all the changes are done smoothly, right? So that process is known as configuration control. Let's see with an example now. See, the first activity is configuration identification. So what are configuration? The controllable object, that means deliverables or the results or the output. It might be an SRS document, it can be a design document, it can be tools used to build the system such as compiler, linkers, lexical analyzers or parsers. It can be source code, test cases or the problem reports. So ultimately all the deliverables, right? We prepare a configuration management plan which is written by a project manager, right, during the planning phase, and it lists all controlled objects which needs to be controlled. Then comes is the process of configuration. Configuration control is the process of managing changes to the controlled objects. The configuration control system prevents unauthorized changes to any controlled object. So anyone can make a change, that is true, whosoever is working in that project, but that change has to be verified by some authorized persons or the team, right? So here we'll see later on that authorized changes we mean is that has been reviewed and certified by a change control board. We have a change control board who is going to review the changes if anyone wants to make a change, and if they feel that it is beneficial, then only they certified and the change is allowed to be implemented, right? In order to change a controlled object such as a module, a developer can get a private copy of the module by a reserve operation, right? Simply we'll come up to this figure now, where this entire change is being represented. So the document in which we are supposed to make a change is called a baseline document. So if I'm saying we are making a change in SRS version 2.0, right, that we have identified, so that will be currently known as a baseline document. Yeah? In that baseline document, say we have 4 modules or 4 parts and the C needs a change, right? So if a person wants to make a change, we say if he has to apply a reserve operation. This reserve operation means he will fetch a private copy of C since he cannot make change in the centralized location. Right? He will take a private copy of it and he'll make the changes here and he will update it in a new location. A new version or a release is being given in that case. So first step is reserve it, and if you feel like okay, the change is not so relevant or important, I don't want that change, you can cancel the reservation. Okay, it will go back again and this will remain the current baseline. But if you make the changes in the private copy, you're going to store it in a new location, right? With this C dash, that is modified C, and now this will become the new baseline. Everyone is going to use this and this becomes the previous version or a release depending upon major or minor change. So now we will rename this as, say if it is a, I'm assuming it is a minor change, so I'll say version 2.1, right? Now this becomes the current baseline and everyone is going to use this. Now what is the benefit of actually this thing? Whenever a person is going to reserve it, so it is an indication to other people who are working on the same SRS that someone is going to make a change. Since a reserve operation is applied, they have to stop working. So that concurrency problem will also be removed, as well as the inconsistency problem will also removed, and we will be providing a stable environment, right? So an indication to everyone. Now they will stop working. If the cancel reservation is done, right? So everyone will start their work with this baseline document only. But if the change is implemented and now this becomes the new baseline, it has been a new release or a version is being given. So it will send an alert that this SRS document is modified and it is stored in the centralized location. Now fetch the new SRS configuration and carry forward their work. Now they will not work on the previous version. They will start working on the new version since a restore operation is there. So this indicates the change has been made. Now refer the new document. So this is what is being depicted in the entire process. We take a private copy, reserve operation is allowed, no one else is going to make the changes, right? So this. So concurrent access problem is resolved. The whole steps are given here is you reserve it, you restore it. All the changes has to be done with the permission of the change control board. Change control board reviews the changes whichever is applied by a particular member, and they certifies whether the change is well motivated, developer has considered and documented the effect of the changes interact well with the changes made by other developers, and appropriate people have validated the change. So ultimately, what does change control board do? Whenever someone requests for a change, they review to check whether that change is well motivated. Is it going to have several benefits? Or they check developers have considered and document the effects of the change. Say, this is the change, but maybe with the change several severities or impacts are involved. So whether you have considered all those and documented, then whatever change you make, is it going to interact well with the changes made by other developers? Because others might have also made the changes. So there must not be compatibility or inconsistency issues in that. So the change must be working well with the other parts also. And appropriate people, that is a team, have validated the changes, that it is consistent. If the change control board verifies these and found okay fine, these are correct, then only they certifies or they allow for making the changes. It's not that anyone can come and make the change. They have to apply the change to this change control board. Now this change control board is a group of people if it is a large project, while if it is a small project, then the project manager can himself do the entire task, or he can ask some senior member of the team to carry out this task. Fine. So this is what the change control board is. Now the benefits: a stable environment is achieved, problem of accidental overwriting is also eliminated, while unintentional changes are also eliminating you did this process. So this was your software configuration management. Hope the things are clear. Still, if you have any problem, you can communicate it anytime. Thank you for today.